Every year, the same week, Jordan gets the same email. His rent is going up. This time, $300 more a month. Nothing in his apartment has changed. The carpet is the same. The leaky faucet is the same. He has never once been late. And he has never, not one single time, met his landlord. Jordan assumes it's just the market. It isn't. Somebody decided his rent should go up. So I went looking for who. And it turns out the answer is not a person. We are told rent is simple. Supply and demand. Too many people, not enough apartments, so prices rise. And sure, that's part of it. But it doesn't explain why rents in city after city jumped at almost the exact same time, by similar amounts, even in places where apartments were sitting empty. That is not what a free market does. In a free market, landlords undercut each other to fill their units. So what happens if they simply stop competing? It comes down to three things, hiding behind that rent increase. And Jordan is about to meet all three. Jordan is the tenant every landlord claims they want, pays early, never complains, fixes the small stuff himself. By every rule he was ever given, he should have leverage, because a good tenant is cheaper to keep than to replace. And yet, every single renewal, the number climbs. So he started asking a simple question: who actually sets that number? Because it clearly wasn't the man who owns his building, and the deeper he dug, the stranger the answer got. Increasingly, nobody sets it. A piece of software does. Here is the first thing hiding in Jordan's rent: a piece of pricing software. The largest is made by a company called RealPage. Here is how it works. Landlords hand over their private data, what they charge, how full their buildings are. The software swallows all of it and tells each landlord the highest rent they can possibly get away with. Sounds like a normal business tool, until you realize that hundreds of competing landlords are all feeding the same brain and all following its advice. When your competitors share a single pricing algorithm, they stop competing. They stop undercutting each other to win you. They just raise the rent together. If that sounds like it should be illegal, that's because it might be. In 2024, the United States Department of Justice, along with a group of states, sued RealPage. The accusation that it helped landlords fix prices, an algorithmic version of the smoke-filled room price fixing that has been illegal in this country for over 100 years. The company insists it only gives recommendations, but internal messages quoted in the case showed landlords being coached that competing on price, leaving money on the table, was the real mistake. The entire pitch was that everyone wins more, as long as everyone stops fighting for you, and the numbers show exactly what you'd expect. Here is the rent a typical American pays against the wage. A typical American earns, both adjusted for inflation, both lined up from the year 2000. Watch them pull apart. For a while, they rise together. Then, the rent line detaches and climbs into the sky, while the paycheck underneath it barely lifts off the ground. That growing gap is not abstract. It's money that moves, every single month, out of the pockets of people who just need somewhere to live, and into the pockets of the people who own where they live. But an algorithm can only set the price of something that somebody owns. So follow the money one more step. Who actually owns the homes now? Because that changed too. And it changed because of a catastrophe. When the housing market collapsed in 2008, millions of families lost their homes to foreclosure. And those homes had to go somewhere. Waiting for them with billions of dollars in cheap money were Wall Street firms. The biggest of them, Blackstone, spun up a company called Invitation Homes and went on a spree, buying tens of thousands of foreclosed family houses for cents on the dollar. The home a family had just lost quietly became a line item on a balance sheet. An asset, rented right back to a family exactly like the one that lost it. One company. Around 80,000 houses. And it was not alone. A handful of investment firms bought up whole neighborhoods of single-family homes. The exact starter homes a young family would once have bought to begin their lives. In some American cities, in the hottest years, investors were buying 1 out of every 4 houses that sold. They were not buying them to live in. They were buying the thing you need so they could rent it back to you. And now you can watch the loop close. Cheap money let Wall Street buy the homes. Fewer homes left to buy means more people forced to rent instead. More renters with nowhere else to go means more power for whoever sets the rent. And the rent is set by an algorithm built to squeeze the absolute maximum out of exactly that situation. Each piece makes the next one worse. Jordan is not unlucky. Jordan is standing inside a machine, and you could call all of this an accident, a weird coincidence of software and timing, except every single part of it points in the same direction: more money out of renters and into owners. Once you see that, you can't unsee it. We took shelter, the most basic thing a human being needs, and we turned it into a product. And the product is working exactly the way it was designed to. So why is any of this still legal? Why can a piece of software quietly coordinate the price of a human necessity? It's the same reason most of these rules survive. The real estate industry is one of the most powerful lobbies in the entire country, spending hundreds of millions of dollars to shape housing policy. And when a city or a state tries to ban algorithmic rent fixing or pass real protections for tenants, that money shows up to fight it. The rules are not broken, they are guarded by the exact people the rules are making rich. And here is what the machine does to someone like Jordan. He can't save to buy a home because the rent eats the down payment every month. He can't move somewhere cheaper because the same software is setting the price across town too. He can't even negotiate because the person who could say yes to him doesn't actually exist. He did everything right. And the machine does not care because it was never built to reward a good tenant. It was built to find the most that Jordan can possibly pay, and then to ask for a little more. Now, to be clear, your actual landlord might be a regular person, someone with one building just trying to get by. They are not the villain here. But notice something. They are renting the very same pricing software the giants use and being nudged toward the very same squeeze. The people who built this are not the small landlord. They are the firm that turned a pricing algorithm into a cartel, the Wall Street money that bought up the roofs over our heads, and the lobby that fights year after year to keep all of it perfectly legal. Aim there. We took the one thing a person genuinely cannot go without, a place to live, and we handed its price to a machine built to extract the most from people who have no choice but to pay it. That is not a market failing. That is a market doing precisely what it was rebuilt to do. You were told rent was the cost of a roof over your head. Somewhere along the way, it quietly became the cost of someone else's return. So here is my prediction, and I am logging it, so you can hold me to it. By 2028, the share of American rental homes owned by large investors will be higher than it is today, not lower. And rent will still be outrunning wages, unless two things happen. We ban landlords from coordinating their prices through shared software, and we build enough homes that owning one stops being a lottery. I do not expect either to happen quickly. The machine is far too profitable, and it has very, very good lawyers. Jordan is going to get that email again next year. The rent will go up again, and he still won't have a landlord to call because there isn't one. Just a piece of software doing the exact job it was built for inside a market that was quietly rearranged around him. You cannot out-budget a machine designed to find your limit, but you can stop blaming yourself for losing a game that was rebuilt so that you couldn't win it. The first step to fighting a rigged market is knowing that it's rigged. Now you do, and so does Jordan.